Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craven something scary.
Hello, Sydney.
KillJoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Nightwatch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Get up!
The collective has spoken.
Yo, what's up? Lethal Collective time. Mondays, we're ready to rock. People are dancing, people are singing, people are drinking beer and all that type of stuff. There you go, Jake.
I'm the dancing one, in case you didn't know.
You
That is
are the
me.
dancing queen.
Wow.
That song's about me.
Yeah, they made it for Jake.
They made it for me.
They knew
Yeah,
one
you know,
day
it
he
just-
would be born. The true dancing queen.
Hey, that just made me think about one of the clips I play is that guy doing that singing without a shirt on. And people are still saying that is Jake. And I'm like, that is definitely not Jake.
But it
Jake
should be.
maybe could emulate it, but that is not Jake singing that song with his shirt off. Anyways,
I wish it was.
yeah. That's right. Okay, so for you guys in the chat, welcome. We're glad you're here. We'll do a blanket hello. And what's up, Russell? Russell's always on point, man. Can we just take a second to just give Russell some credit? I mean, gosh, man. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Jake, take
loving
your
it.
shirt off.
Wow. Wow. This is almost like that one stream where Bearded Entertainment took his shirt off. That was some crazy stuff, man.
Wow, really?
I'm gonna have to go watch that.
Which stream? Which one was that?
Yeah, which one was that?
No
For-
reason
for-
in particular. Just
Research purposes.
I can't remember if it was on my. I think it was on. I do think it was on my channel. It was a hangout, and yeah, I'm pretty. Or it could have been Steven's. I can't remember. But anyways, point is, the Bearded Entertainment got bearded and showed some entertainment. Okay,
He's like, it's really hot in here.
that's right.
Guess I'll
What's
take
up,
down another
Val?
button. Jeez. Sorry.
Right, and loosen up my buttons. All right, Denisha, what's going on? We're already off the rails here. What's up, Jen? Jen's in the chat. Good to see you too. Let's see.
Love the
And
profile
Dan.
picture.
I know Jen's been getting pretty slick lately. You got to give her some credit there, man.
Heck
Very, very
yeah.
cool. What's up, Dan? Good to see you. He said modern day slashers. Of course, Sick is at the top of the list. I'm sure everyone would agree. Would we all agree? Would we?
That's a good starting point.
Yeah,
We
let's
come back to that. We come back to that.
If that's the only modern slasher you've seen, yeah, I guess that's number one.
What did you guys?
I'm so sorry.
What did you guys think of Sick? Night.
All right, so I'll let Jay go first. I'll
Jake.
It was it's a movie. It's got pictures in it. They flash really fast across the screen. I don't know. It's fine. I think the chase scenes are incredible. Like that's the one really strong positive I'll give it. Like just amazing chase scenes, maybe even better than some of the new Scream films. But besides that, it's kind of a stinky boy for me.
Wow. Well, we will be talking about it later on when I stream for Slasher Movie Club, so I won't get too deep into it because I hadn't seen it before, but I enjoyed it. I'll just give that as my quick pre-show tease.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Well, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Fate?
I kind of like Jake. It was a movie, I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't really good in my opinion. It had moments that I like the chase scenes. I agree were pretty good. I just thought the overall story was disappointing. Like, I don't know. Like, I get what they were trying to go for, but there was another movie I saw recently. what was it called? It kind of was like the same concept of like the COVID thing, and that I just thought it was way better as executed. I mean, that movie still wasn't. Man, what is it called? It's I can't think of the name of it, but I know it had. I know one of the actors in it. Let me see.
It's like another 2020
now we gotta
horror
find
movie.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
We're doing it. We're finding this thing right now. That's
We're doing it live.
in real time.
in real time.
In the real internet. What's up, Nathan?
Nathan, what
Good
up?
to see you. Michael saying that Oppenheimer was incredible. All right. Love the horror movie aspects to it. Jake, if you saw it, the scene where Oppie was in all black in the rain. So sick. There's that word again.
Sick.
Nolan would crush in the horror genre. Nolan would crush in any genre, in my opinion. I just think he's so talented.
Fear.
And
That was the name of it.
Fear.
It was
I
just
didn't-
called
I didn't-
Fear. It even had T.I. in it, which I thought was pretty interesting. But basically, like the premise of the movie, without like spoiling anything or taking anything away from it, it came out. Fear came out this year, I think. But basically, the premise is there's this guy who he's like a writer, and he just finally had his big break, sold a book, and he wants to go to this cabin, this like isolated cabin, and basically like propose to his girl and everything like that. They get there, and then he has, and like this is like during the COVID thing, right? So like him and like his group of friends go to this cabin, and they're all there to like show support because they thought he proposed at the cabin, and he doesn't propose. He gets cold feet, but he still plans on it. And then they get to this cabin, and it's like this so it's kind of more of like a psychological thriller than it is like this. But anyway, one of the guys has like there's like this like entity thing going around, and it's like influencing people, and it's centered around being sick, and it's the fear of being sick, and and then it kind of, and it uses, but like it's not just based on like COVID situation, right? So what it does, like the movie's called Fear because it was Mark Wahlberg's Fear was great. Mark
Yeah, that's
Wahlberg.
what I always think of when I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not that movie.
Yeah,
Right.
not that one. No, so they end up the whole thing is like this entity is preying on your fears, and because like the heightened fear of like getting sick and people dying are like on everyone's mind. That's how this entity starts manipulating everybody, and then it starts getting into their individual fears. Like again, it's not like the greatest movie ever. Like like me and my girl watched it, and like when we got done, we were kind of just like, don't really know how I feel about it, but it was much better executed than Sick. Much better executed. Like I think like Fear, if you take Fear and Sick and put them side by side, I think Fear was a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's still like I don't know. It's one of those things. It's one of those movies where you just get done and you're like, all right, like what? Like, it's just,
All right.
yeah, it's like, all right.
right.
Like
All
I
right.
didn't feel like I wasted my time. You know what I mean? Like I
Okay.
felt like
Right.
I was like like
Got
when you go
enough
watch a
going
movie
on.
and you're like,
Yeah.
well, I could have used that 2 hours doing something else. It was a little slow burning. Like I think it was one of those movies where like if you cut like 30 minutes of it, it probably would have been like a perfect movie. It's just there's points where you're just like, come on, let's get to it, right? Because they're trying to like build something, but T.I. is such iffy as an actor.
Yeah.
I like T.I. as an actor. I mean, he plays the same role every movie, but like he was great in what's that Will Ferrell movie with Kevin Hart?
Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
He's getting ready to go to prison or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like,
I know what you're.
dude,
Yeah.
T.I. was great in that, and I thought he was good in Takers.
Get Hard is the name of
Yeah,
it. I'm sorry.
Get
That-
Hard.
it just
There you
came to
go.
me.
There you
I was
go.
like,
There you
oh,
go.
yeah.
Thank
Like
you.
all of a sudden.
Are you
Hey, real
asking
quick.
me to get hard, or is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, that was
That's
a
the name of
command,
the
not a
movie.
That was a command. Okay.
Wow. There you go. Real quick, man. We got to knock at the door, so we got to bring in our good buddy Steven from Craven. Something scary. What's up, man?
Hey guys, The collective is in full form now.
Yeah.
Yes.
There
Finally,
you go.
We
Ah.
Made it sound
We're
like
all
we were
assembled.
We were sounding like we
Make
were like
one super
Voltron or
robot.
something.
yes.
Voltron is what I actually had in mind. Actually, believe it or not, it was in my. I had the visual of it coming together. Yes,
Dun, 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 dun,
One
dun,
super
dun,
robot.
dun.
absolutely.
Okay.
But for you younger audience, there, Power Rangers,
There you go. Right. There you go. There you go.
the Megazord.
Oh
Very
my gosh.
cool. So,
Awesome.
Steven, you're coming in, man. We were just going over just some quick thoughts on Sick. We had someone in the chat that brought that up. And
Oh,
obviously,
yeah,
obviously I know you've seen it. What you got any quick thoughts you want to throw out about Sick?
yeah, man. So, like, I saw it when it first came out, like, the first day or two, and I liked it. Right, I liked it. I wasn't like in love with it, but I liked it.
Uh-huh.
Thought it was pretty good. So last night, I got to watch it with you on your members watch party. And let me just tell you something. I watched it. I mean, I liked it. I liked it the first time. I did, like I said, but I really liked it the second time. And when I watched it with you last night, I'm like, this movie's darn good. This is actually better than I remember it. And it's got tension, suspense. It's got great kills. And, you can nitpick here and there like you can on any movie. But overall, man, Night, that was a darn good movie. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. Now, sure, you could get on a little bit of a political soapbox if you want to go after that as a, without giving away anything. If those of you who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I can understand those who don't like that as maybe an agenda kind of thing. Fair. I mean, it's fair. I'll go. That's cool. I just choose not to let that stuff get to me. Like in a movie like that, I think it's just a great, fun slasher movie, and there are some twists and turns along the way in that movie that are pretty darn good. And I think that it has a Kevin Williamson touch that's pretty apparent, isn't it? It's pretty clear.
It's definitely a Kevin Williamson movie.
Oh yeah, if you know his work, you see it. It's like there, very there. And the opening of that movie is strong, guys. Whether you like it or not, the movie or not, that opening could be a Scream film opening. It is really good.
Yeah, if it felt like that.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Jake?
Fear yet? The
geez.
new one, not the Mark Wahlberg version.
Don't do it, fake. Come on.
No,
man.
I don't believe so, man. No.
Never mind.
I can't believe I missed that one. I always try to see the weirder releases, and I'm so sad I missed Fear. I'm like, damn.
I think it was released in theaters.
I must have missed it. Yeah.
When was it? Like, how new is it? Is it like really new? Or
It's so new that we don't even know about it.
is it like
Yeah.
Jake,
Was
were
it
you
released
gonna
in
say
Haiti?
something?
I was gonna say
Go
about Sick. I think my two favorite parts of it are the opening scene and like when they're on the raft. I thought that was fucking like the raft
Oh,
sequence
Raft
is
was cool,
phenomenal.
man.
Dude,
Shout
so
out
like,
to
that was
Creative
so
Creep
good.
Show too.
Yeah, yes. My
It was
favorite part of
Yeah.
Creep Show too, as well.
The raft. Yeah,
Jake,
that was
okay.
cool.
Oh, Jake, how did you not like? And I don't want to give it away. I'm going to say this: the puppet scene. Think of you know what I'm talking about? Remember, the girls are in the truck. The front door opens. You remember that? You remember that, dude?
Puppets? What? Why do I not remember
Darn it.
puppets?
Well, no.
You gotta
I watched
watch it again, Jake.
You got to watch it, dude, because it's like a puppeteering going on there.
Hey, you know what? No, all seriousness,
shit.
Jake, I know you're super busy, so you don't have to do this whatsoever. Okay, you
Hit
absolutely
me with
don't.
it, man.
But just for the fun of it, because we're live and we're talking about this thing, you should watch it again. And next week, let us know if the needle has moved at all.
I
Seriously,
will.
dude.
No, honestly, I will. There are things I loved about the film. Like I genuinely loved those two chase scenes. Or the first, the opening scene's more like a kill. Great, like really well executed stuff in the film. Just as a whole, I wasn't crazy about it. I think the twist is it's like the Debbie Salt twist, but worse because it's historically inaccurate, which is like really frustrating because this like just happened and like they got something wrong, which it's like blatantly wrong, which that just bugs me. It's like, how do you mess that up? This happened 3 years ago. Like what? So that was a little it was just odd. It wasn't even like, I don't know, frustrating's the wrong word. It was just like it was an odd thing for them to not have that right when this was something that happened in like 2020. The other thing too, the main character I just don't like. I don't think she's not easy for me to root for. And I think if I would have liked her more, I think the movie works. But those two things really soured the punch bowl for me personally. But there's really masterful things going on in the movie. Cinematography is amazing, great chase scenes. It has potential to be one of the better horror films of the year. I will say that.
Well, and you guys give that girl one thing credit for. She was a fighter. She was not a Mindy Meeks who just gets stabbed in the arm and falls asleep. All right,
just falls.
Ow! Like falls out. Oh. Dude, this chick could fight back, bro.
The way you guys feel about Mindy is how I feel about the main character of that movie. Like, I just think she's insufferable. I don't know. I mean, yeah, she's a fighter, but like everything that comes out of her mouth is like, oh my God, that's just so like, it's frustrating. I don't know. Never mind. But
well, no, I mean, that's fair. Look, we all like different characters and or dislike.
Right.
And I do agree. If you don't like a main character, it is hard to appreciate the movie. And that's, so I respect that, dude. I do.
Yeah.
Look, Jake, totally. Whenever you're like, man, this character is insufferable, just think of that, like, what was that VHS type movie? The one with the chick who is like all like, you know, patriotic Trump.
Oh yeah. That's the most insufferable main character of all time. Don't even. Dash Cam. Yeah. Skip it. Just skip it.
Never saw it, dude.
That has to be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And I
really?
love it.
Is it really?
Dude,
it's awful. It is god awful.
I love the director of that movie. Rob Savage, like, he impressed me big time with Host in 2020. I fought for a screener for that movie. And when I'm just sitting there, like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. Man, it's just an awful movie. I'm so like,
wow,
nothing redeemable about the whole film.
Now I almost have to see it.
There was
Watch party night.
There was no like redeeming qualities about the movie. Like
I've
all
never
the
seen it
characters.
either.
You'll be checked out after the first 10 minutes too. It's not like this gets ruined later on. No, it's horrible from the beginning. And it's like, what? Wow. How did this movie and it's satire, like it's making fun of something specifically, but even then it's just too much. Like it's like times 1,000, and it's to the point where it's like it's not even you can't even enjoy it because it's too much.
Wow.
Okay. Wow, that's too bad.
That's too bad.
Oh, but real quick, guys. Also, that movie Fear, it came out January 27th of this year.
We're still talking about Fear.
Talking about Fear.
All right.
This is the Fear show now. We're just talking about this.
Where can I stream it at? Haiti.com or DominicanRepublic.com or
I didn't even know the movie came out.
DiscountNetwork.com? Where's this thing at?
I'm looking it up now, okay?
He said he didn't even know it came out.
Freemovies.net. Where's this thing at?
Fate's gonna be like, if you guys don't watch this freaking movie, I'm gonna be pissed off.
I will watch
it. When it came out, and I said I don't know.
You did.
Can we hit the pause button for 2 seconds here? King Batch is in this movie. No, you didn't want to tell me that. I would have been like, oh, sold. I'm watching this shit. You want a spoonful? It's just a spoonful. You know,
but not everyone knows who King Batch is. Like
I do.
I know you do, but everyone knows who T.I. is. Everyone
King
knows
Batch.
Yeah.
He's great. Oh my god, hilarious actor. I love him.
He's like a comedian.
It's gonna be 2 months later, and then like all of a sudden, Fate's gonna be like, and yeah, you know, in Fear. Listen, guys,
Fear's gonna be the new Supernatural for me, where I just keep dropping blows.
All right,
Supernatural.
Oh my god,
he got sponsored by the movie recently, as Fane is.
As you know,
winning up. That's funny.
Dude, this thing's got a. Bro, Fate.
Fear Night. I just sent you the trailer. No,
Fate. Can you play it on the stream?
It'll be 3 a.m. He's gonna text me. He's like, Night, have you watched Fear yet?
Dude, go to bed.
All right. Look, and I haven't seen the movie, and I don't always trust ratings. I really don't. But I just gotta say, this thing has got a 1.9 out of 5 on Movie Insider, a 3.4 out of 10 on IMDb rating.
Wow.
21% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth watching, dude? Seriously, I'll watch it. You say it.
I thought it. The reason I even brought up Fear is because I said it was a better version of Sick.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's so the reason that I didn't just like randomly was like, hey guys, today's sponsor."
I mean,
No, we were
Can't even
talking
give
about
stars.
Steak, and me and Jake were talking about how we didn't like it was just a movie, like,
Okay.
it was okay. And I said Fear. I started off saying Fear. I thought Fear was a better executed version of the idea. It's not a slasher film. It's more of like a psychological thriller almost.
Okay, all right, that's all right.
It's like I said, it's not a movie that's gonna blow you away. Like I even said, like when we were talking earlier, I was like, when I got done, me and my girl were kind of like, we didn't feel like we wasted our time. Like it wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't like bad. Like it was worth the watch.
Okay.
But I thought the concept and idea and the way that they executed the whole sickness, of the COVID pandemic and stuff like that, I just thought it was a better executed version of that. But it's a slow burn. There's most people probably wouldn't like it because you need to cut out like 30 minutes of that film. If you cut out like 30 minutes of that film is probably perfect. But it's one of those things where you're like, just get to the point. Like you establish what you needed to establish early on, and then you kind of dragged out the fun, right? Because they're partying, they're celebrating, they're and you're like, is anything gonna happen? Literally, it takes like 45 minutes for something for the stuff to really start kicking in, and then once it starts kicking in, then it starts getting like interesting. Then you're just like what is going on? Is it this, or is it really this, or is it is it the COVID sickness? Like what? And then they have like these little things that pop up, and you're just like, oh, okay, like that's pretty interesting. Like it just takes a while it takes like an hour to get there. So that's probably why people think the movie's terrible.
Gotcha.
But,
wow.
Sounds like Fantasy Island.
You could literally watch the first 10 minutes of the first 10 minutes of the movie and then like fast forward 30 minutes and you'd be fine. Like that's how bad.
See you later, Dan. He said see you everyone at 8. Make sure you tell Jake that Sick is the best slasher ever.
There you go, man.
I love Mr. Dan. Love him.
You're all right.
I remember when I posted my review of that, like nobody really agreed with me about the main character. Like that's what like the back half of my review is about, just complaining about why this character was written a certain way. And everyone was like, I liked her. Like what? Like why do you feel that way? I guess I'm the only one. That's all right. I don't care. That's just funny.
Well, I mean, if you do get a chance to see it again, I would be interested to see, because everyone keeps telling me that, and Steven just said it too, like the second and third time that they watch it, like, who said that? Eric from Bearded Entertainment.
Yeah.
They said the second and third time that they enjoy it even more.
Yeah,
so
I do. For sure. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And I will tell you something. Do you remember in Scream 6 marketing campaign when they dropped that poster that was identical as Sick?
Oh,
remember that? Identical.
Yeah.
And viewer Anon tweeted out that this poster of Scream 6 is a huge clue. The Sick poster copy. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
Yeah.
Dude, was he spot on or what?
Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah, that's really interesting how they did that. That's cool.
That's
cool.
right.
Yeah.
That little homage. I have a question.
Right.
And we can start with
Is it about fear?
And come back to me. Yeah. So what are your initial thoughts when I brought up fear? No.
That would have been so funny if he really did that.
We are 23 minutes into this, Doug. We gotta talk about something else.
But on a serious note, I don't know why they called it Fear. No, I'm sure.
Oh my God!
No, what do you guys think? What do you guys think is wrong, and would be a way to correct the movie Fear? Correct.
Oh no.
Correct slashers in the modern era. Like what? Like because like slashers. I swear I had a real good question. I just dragged out the Fear thing too much. But
I like that question. The other ones I don't.
No, I'm saying,
I'm
saying like because like the slasher genre just feels kind of like stale at this point. It just feels like like they're entertaining for what they are, but there hasn't been like that slasher and like since you can make an argument since '96 Scream that really just like was like, wow, this is it. What do you guys think is wrong with the slasher genre, and what do you guys think could help fix that? Jake,
I could genuinely talk about this for 5 hours and still have more to say.
We still got
Man,
40 minutes.
there you go.
We got at least 40. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we got 40 minutes.
The big, like, when you go back and you look at like 80s slashers, which is like without a doubt the golden age for that time, like for that kind of movie.
Oh yeah.
The biggest thing is that, yes, you know, there are movies that you can go back to like the 60s where you can argue this is a slasher movie or not. You know, like you can argue Psycho's a slasher, but I still think it's arguable personally. With the 80s movies, there's so many of them. I mean, like, you can watch 100 slasher movies that right now you've never seen from the 1980s, and you still will at least have 100 more. That is how many fucking slashers came out in that time period. When that happens, when that boom happens like that, you're just not going to get too many more original ideas when so many other avenues have been explored. I mean, look at the early 90s, man, for slashers. There's not much that stands out besides Silence of the Lambs and Candyman. I mean, you know, Child's Play 3, I guess.
Dude, Halloween 5, baby.
There it is.
Come on,
With
man.
Is that
cops.
the cops with the squeaky noises? Come on, that's great.
noises.
Dude. That was new territory.
But everything boils down to a sequel or something else besides, you know, little outliers here and there. Now in 2023, we have slashers that come out, and some of them are really good. Like, there's some big standouts from just the past 5 years, in my opinion. Not a lot, but a few. Like Happy Death Day, Freaky, this two Scream films we got, I would say definitely fall into that category. But not much has really broken the mold or reinvented the idea. And it's going to be tough to really figure that out until maybe some new wave of something comes along, you know, like maybe we get away from slashers for a long time and then we don't see them, you know. And that would suck, but that's why, you know, that's why Scream happens in the wake of slashers getting so predictable and you know, whatever, that no one cares about them anymore in 1995. Now Scream comes along in 96 and makes them all cool again, you know. So like we're almost at that point. I think. I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't think we're quite at like early 90s slasher area yet, but
no.
What I will say is we need to find that new tone, something to gloss over a slasher that makes it something that we've never seen before. And once that happens, there'll be another boom. And I think that's possible. I really do. It's just one of those things we can't see right now, but maybe there's, you know, an inkling of something out there that is already showcasing that. Like, look at Jason Lives being the precursor to Scream. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of is that. It's like you're making fun of yourself now at this point. And that's a product of the fact that you had seen so many slasher movies from like 1978 to when that movie comes out in 86. So like, of course we're going to make fun of it because that's been the audience reaction. What's the audience reaction to slashers right now and how can we capitalize on that? That's the biggest question slashers need to answer moving forward, I think.
Well, you know, I think for me, I mean, you know, it's definitely cycles and that's going to continue to happen. Like you were saying, Jake, you know, you had movies like Black Christmas in the early 70s and you know, Halloween kind of opened the door. But then, especially the original Friday the 13th and, you know, anywhere between 81 to 84, everybody was like, man, we just got to go balls to the walls with these kills. Tom Savini, let's give him some paychecks and show a lot of blood. And just and get crazy with it. And then they really mined that field for a long time and then it died down. And then obviously in 96 with Scream, and then everybody wanted to copy Scream. And then that kind of died down. So, you know, I think this is all cycles. I do think that there's been a resurgence of the slashers in the last, you know, handful of years or whatever. The challenge of it though, and you kind of said it, is that it's been legacy franchises, you know, whether it's Scream or Halloween. But we do have a couple, you know, when you talk about Terrifier, when you talk about
Terrifier. I didn't even think about Terrifier too. Yeah.
Yeah. You got Freaky, you got The Strangers, you know, so you've got a few that have come out and have, you know, done whatever they've done. I think, at least right now, the big thing is for them to have some fresh angle, you know, because the concepts are just getting more narrow because they've been done. You know what I mean? So you have to come in with something fresh, something that people can kind of latch onto. Like with Terrifier, obviously you latch onto the fact that you've got Art. He's bonkers. He's not talking and all of that type of stuff. So that was something that people could latch onto. And obviously now we're in a situation where that franchise, you know, is coming in with a third movie and Art is truly becoming, you know, an icon of sorts, you know, starting that journey anyways. So I think we're going to get to a point probably soon where we're going to have you know, the wall, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back. And that's what I see personally.
Can I
My
ask you
only
something?
hope-
Just
Sure.
just real quick. Like Halloween 2018 comes out, right? And then we have all these
Right.
requels. Like sure, we had requels
Mhm.
before that, but they didn't, we didn't have the term. We didn't have the idea. You can make the argument that Dream Warriors back in the 80s is a requel. But
Yeah.
Halloween 2018 comes out, popularizes that. Every franchise does it. Do you think now with Terrifier 2 like being so successful that we'll see more slashers in that vein where it's like, you have this slasher villain running around, goofing around, he's being silly, he's enjoying the kills, something along those lines? Do we see that? And they're ultra gory. Like, do we see imitators now moving into like 2024?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's quite possible. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because it just did so well, for the amount of money that they put into it, which was very small, and the amount of money that it made. And now, I mean, this whole idea with 3, just they're ready to just count some cash. That's what they're ready to do. And I don't blame them, because this should be something that's going to be very successful with this third movie. But it wouldn't surprise me if things start to go like really over the top gory. But I also think that we're getting closer to that wall, because we have had, Scream 5, Scream 6, the Halloween trilogy. We've had things, on the small screen, like, Chucky came back, hopefully Friday 13th, come back and jump in there real quick. So I do think we're getting closer to that wall. And then I think it's going to change up. I really do, some way, somehow. So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
what do you
Well,
think, Steve?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess I see it. Maybe I'm a little the oddball of the group tonight, but I still kind of think we're in a little resurgence of the slasher genre. I personally, I mean, when you look at where we were for a while, and then Halloween 2018 comes out, and then bam, we've got Halloween, and we've got new TCM, we've got X, we've got Pearl, we've got Scream, we've got.
Mhm.
I mean, and I'm forgetting a lot of movies here, obviously. And then, we got Sick because it's on the brain. We've got Saw coming out in September.
Hey,
September, baby.
yeah, baby.
And I mean, Saw. What are we going to see in this movie? I mean, we can make. I
Mhm.
mean, you think you've seen it all, right? In 9 movies,
Mhm.
but maybe not. Maybe we're going to see new territory here. So,
Right.
I mean, I just kind of like feel like we're riding a wave. Now, will that wave continue, and for how long? I don't know. But I will tell you one thing: as long as Halloween's making nearly $200 million, Scream's making nearly $200 million, I'm really curious to see what X is going to. I mean, Saw 10 is going to make.
Mhm.
But if that brings in 150 or more, that tells me that there is still an audience for the appetite for a slasher movie. That the
Yeah.
So I still now, if we ever get to a point where you see these franchises and these movies are doing 90 million, 85 million, ooh, we're in trouble. Now we are in major trouble, guys, if you're a slasher fan,
Mhm.
because then we are going to see a transition away from studios are going to stop making them, and it's going to be a little
Mm.
independent, direct to video again, like it was in the early 90s for the most part. When Scream knocked that door down again. So
Right.
yeah, I kind of feel like, we're still in a pretty good place, and I'm excited to see what these next couple of years still are going to unfold. And once the strike ends, and hey, we got
Right.
five nights with Freddy's even. I know it's animatronics,
That's right.
but there's going to be bodies hitting the floor, baby.
It's a slasher.
right.
I think it's a slasher.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah.
look at it. So again, they're still cranking them out, man. So
Mhm.
let's go. I'm more optimistic on it than a lot of people. I think we're in a really neat era for the slasher fans, and we
Mm.
got to support them. That's why I keep saying, if you're a slasher fan, go support these movies. If it's
Yeah. Good
please,
point.
if you want to see them make more, you've got to buy a ticket, stream,
Yep.
whatever platform they are, buy a DVD, because that's the way they're going to keep making them. That's the only way.
Good
Yeah.
point.
So those are my
Real
thoughts.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. Real quick. Oh, actually, no, Fade. I'll let you go first, and then we've got a super chat coming in.
All right, yeah. My concern is that like the Five Nights at Freddy's, like all of these movies, like we're in a gimmicky slasher era, right? Like, because like Five Nights at Freddy's could pull in 150,000 or 150 million, and I don't know if that translates to a slasher film being successful, because Five Nights at Freddy's has a following because of the games and all that stuff, and people are curious to see it, right? It's similar, like, you know, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, right?
Oh
like,
gosh.
Like, but no, it's the gimmick of it, right? Like, if that was just some like stupid low budget slasher film, like nobody would have saw it. It never even would have went to theaters. It would have went straight to, you know, streaming or something like that. But because people were like, I want to see what Winnie the Pooh and, you know, Piglet look like killing and eating people. Like, you know, it was it's the gimmick of it all, right? Which can translate well. And so, like, that's my problem, is like the original slasher. I mean, it's very possible the original slasher is kind of dead, because I don't like, can you be creative and do something new? Like, you know, Freaky, and, you know, that same guy is making like some other film coming out in a couple years or whatever. That's supposed to be like the time travel, what is it, Slash or whatever it is, the time travel version. Like, so I don't know. I mean, you know, Happy Death Day, stuff like that. But like those are more the goofy side of things, rather than like your traditional like scary dark undertone slasher. They're more gimmicky. They're not like black and white, here's a slasher film. What were you gonna say, Jake?
Well, I just want to ask you, like, do you think we can get back to that point? Do you think we can get to a point where slashers are scary again? Or like, do you think in the modern age we need this gimmick? Like, is that kind of what you're saying? Like, I'm just curious.
I think we can, but it might take a couple flops to get there. See, the problem is that people don't want to take the risk because they know the gimmick will sell, right? Because the gimmick, it's funny, it's different, it's creative. So the gimmick will sell. So why would I go the gimmick? Why would I go a more traditional route when I could go the gimmick route? Hollywood follows trends and waves. You know, you see it all the time. Like something's working, and all of a sudden there's 15 movies that are the exact same thing. And it's like, you know, it's like, come on, like we can't do something different. And so like, I think the best way to get back to a slasher, and this is just my personal thoughts, but I think is just to get back to basics, but with a modern tone. Like Terrifier, again, like I don't think that can be replicated. Like you were asking Knight earlier, like, will we see a trend of that? I don't, because again, it's a gimmicky. Not everybody loves like the over the top gore and blood and stuff. I think it works because it built this cult following, and Damien Leone like really pushed it and drove it and stuff like that. I don't think a studio could do the same thing. People love that it was an independent.
Oh shit! But to your point, real quick, like, do you think a studio will try? Like, I'm not saying that it's going to be good. Will they
try? I could see them trying. Absolutely, I could see them trying.
It'll be something to discuss at the very least. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, oh shit, like this is clearly trying to be Terrifier, but they made it for like $10 million. So it's like, it's just weird. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm excited that Damien Leone's working with a budget from like, it's somewhere between $1 to $5 million for Terrifier 3. That's awesome.
Well, he started with like what, 100 grand, or I think less. I mean, on the very first Terrifier.
Yeah.
Oh, 35,000. They made the first one.
Oh yeah, there you go, 35,000. And like, you've seen the trajectory.
Wow.
Now, like, don't get me wrong. I'm so excited that he has like a shit ton of money to play around with Terrifier 3, but I hope the budget doesn't get any bigger than that, because to your point, like, I think that it succeeds so much because it's this low budget indie thing. Like, I love that they're going that route with Terrifier 3 too. They're like, no, we're not sacrificing gore or anything. It's going to be more intense than Terrifier 2. That's the goal. You know what I mean? They can't compromise that. But I can see studios hiring some, you know, lower director who needs a big job or something that wants to do something like Terrifier 3 and gets it under a big studio umbrella. Think like Lionsgate, think Warner Bros, whatever. They try to, you know, emulate Terrifier 3 or Terrifier 2, and it's just not as gory, it's not as intense, so it's not as effective. I think that's totally a possibility. I wouldn't be crazy about that, but I think like shit like that happens when you get something so successful. You see imitators. Sometimes it's good. Of
course,
like,
especially
urban legends. Like Urban Legend to Scream. You know what I mean? Like that's a totally different take on the same thing. But it's good. But then you have something like, and this is a hot take, I'm sorry everybody, but I know what you did last summer, which is trying so hard to be Scream, but it's just not quite there. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, man. Everyone loves it, but I'm not crazy about it. But
Jake, I'm with you, dude.
Okay. See, all right.
Yep.
So you're gonna get imitators. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I'm just excited. I'm excited to finally see that. I feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Sorry, that's really
No,
passionate
you're fine.
about
You're
that.
fine.
It's cool.
But that's my thing. Like, again, it's gimmicky, right? And it goes in like, and you can't underestimate the value of an audience, right? It's
That's right.
You know, Damien Leone built that audience, built the cult following, built the love for that character, and now he has all these people that are rallying behind him to basically help get these films and go watch these films and support him. He built it, and you feel more connectable. I mean, you and me both, Jake, have had conversations with Damien Leone. Like, and he's like, that is what is the difference. The studio isn't going to take the time to do all that, so I don't think it'd have the success. The only way I see a slasher, like the slasher genre, getting back to basics and the copycats following is you basically just get back to basics, right? Like, forget all the little gimmick stuff, forget everything, just build a high tension, you know, bloody but not like too over the top, like realistic style horror film, slasher film. I think, like, if you could take Scream 6, like the dark undertone, the type of kills, like the sort of brutality, but it's not too much, and remove all of like the gimmick stuff, all of like the where nobody can die, and like it's just, you know, but like the essence of what Scream 6 was, and make its own independent film out of that, I do believe you could have some success, right? If you put the right marketing behind it, the right budget behind it, I do think that there's enough people that would want to go see that slasher film. You got to have a convincing killer. You got to have, you know, a good story. But I think if you just have a modernized version where it's just like, it's bloody, but it's not bloody just for the sake of being bloody. It's, you know, it's got the twists and the turns and a good story, and it's got that dark undertone to it. I think you could have a lot of success.
And I look at something like X, which, sure, maybe a little, you can argue it's gimmicky. You know, it takes place in the 70s, a time a lot of, you know, not a lot of us are nostalgic for, but it's stylized. It's cool. It's interesting.
It's very cool.
I can see a lot of people calling that gimmicky, but to me, that's a very back to basic slasher.
I think
like,
it is in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it's happening. I think like what you're talking about is happening. It's just slow to start. You know what I mean? There is a lot of gimmicky stuff happening. Like, you can another thing you can argue is Scream 6 is gimmicky for using New York as a setting. I think it's cool personally, and I think it's only gimmicky if you were to have the characters go to, you know, the Statue of Liberty and be like, oh no way, you know, take pictures. They have a whole chase scene through there. That's gimmicky.
I don't think that's gimmicky. I think like the things that make Scream gimmicky to me is, like I said, just like the fact that like people can't die, right? Like Chad just get butchered, like the blatant copycats to the previous films, like you know, like there's a lot of things that it's just like you couldn't have come up with anything better. Like, you couldn't have come up with anything original. Like, you had like all of this stuff had to be exactly like these previous films, and like, yeah, they're not the exact same films, but it's still within the gimmick of the thing, and it's like.
Yeah,
you know, like, and I understand Scream's gimmick was the meta-ness, right? Being able to poke fun of yourself and talk about all that stuff. And it was really brilliant. But we've seen with all franchises that have longevity, like at some point, you got to go with the flow of the times. And I thought Scream 5 did a good job of that in some areas, right? Like, they made it more modern. Right, like the kills were more modern. The undertone was more modern. Ghostface as a killer was more modern, like as like what people are looking for. The pace was more modern, right? Like 96 and especially Scream 2. 96 not so much, because 96 was flowed pretty well, but Scream 2, like if you really take a second and you like don't lose yourself in that film, it's a slower film. Right, like it has like spots that you're just like, you could just have cut all this stuff out, right? And I'm not saying that you should.
The dance sequence, you know.
Yeah, like
there you go.
Like,
dude, I love that scene, and
like that. You could have taken that whole scene out, and it wouldn't have changed.
I think I love you.
Yeah,
what am I so afraid of?
Like, there's some things in that like, you know, that you could have changed. But Scream 5, I thought, kind of did a good job of understanding the times and understanding like where we need to go. And I just think the writing was terrible. I just think the execution of it was terrible because it wasn't original. I think if Scream 5 would have just done its own thing and had the same dark undertones and the same setting basically, and just had a new group of characters, I think that would have been super successful, maybe even more successful. Because you got to think there's probably a lot of people that were like, I don't need to watch another Scream with Sidney Prescott, Dewey Riley, and Gail Weathers, right? I think, and all the people that like would have been upset that they weren't in the film. If it was a good film, all those people would have went and saw it because it's Scream. They still love Scream, and they still would have been curious to know, like, why was this so good? So I don't think you would have lost any audience, but I think you would have gained more. So it might have had more success. But also, I think that would have launched, if it had success, a new wave of modern slashers, just like 96 did. Because if Scream 5 was its own thing, but I think studios are looking at it as like they just basically ripped off 96. So there's no, like, we don't know if that's successful. Like there's no real ground base to show like, oh, this can be successful. And then they came out with Scream 6, and in many ways it was just a blatant ripoff of Scream 2. So it was like, okay, like I don't know if this is a formula for success. And if Scream 7 rips off Scream 3, I don't think it is again. But like if Scream 7 is its own thing and tells its own story, but has like the core characters and is successful, then I do think people will be like, okay, we can do that. Right? Like just like how Scream, there was the big mystery of like, can Scream have success without Sidney? Well, guess what? Sidney wasn't in the movie, and Scream 6 had more success.
And I think to your point real quick, and Knight, let's get to the super chat right after this.
Yeah.
To your point about that, I just want to say, I think the biggest reason Scream 6 was more successful at the box office than 5 because it was advertised as a very different film. And in a lot of ways it is. Like, you know, you can make the argument all day, you know, the twist is the same thing as 2. Sure, it is. But there's more to it. There's more to the overall vibe of the film. We're not it's not a college, like, sure, we are at college, but that's not the main setting. That's the main setting of Scream 2. The main setting of Scream 6 is New York City. That is how it was advertised. That's how it's always been. I mean, like the movie, we're not even on the campus almost at all throughout the whole film. Like there's like what 2 scenes on the Blackmore College campus. The rest of it is New York City apartment buildings. You know, the shrine to Ghostface. That's what was the big draw to the film. You know, people want to say that it's just Scream 2 all over again, but the college setting was hardly relevant. So,
it's not,
but that's my point. I think you're right. Like I think to a big degree here, you are correct. Scream 3 cannot go to Hollywood. If they go to Hollywood, people are checked out.
They're going, dude. It's happening.
It'll be the least successful of the franchise. I'll bet that right now if they go to Hollywood. But
lock it down.
Knight, let's get this thing. Let's talk about this shit.
All right. Real quick, we've got Talking Star Wars that coming in with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. Seriously, man. Saying, what if a member of Scream's Core 4 is a Ghostface in 7? Red corn syrup, anyone? I don't see that happening. You know, I guess anything is possible, but I just don't think that's going to happen now, being the 3rd movie. If that was going to happen, it would have needed to be in Scream 6. That's my short answer to that. So how about you guys?
Craven, you want to take this one, man?
Yeah, I'll go quick. The only one that I could see would be Sam, which I think would be pretty darn cool because they have shown progressively her, I think, trending towards that from 5 to 6. And in 6, she was much closer, talking about how she, you know, it felt right killing Richie. There, she's showing little glimpses that, you know, and the way she did with Bailey at the end, and you know, when Tara walks in and like almost kind of like catches her going overboard, remember, she stops like she got caught, and then Tara's like basically consents to her like go for it. Sam could have just put the knife down and let him get arrested, or he would have probably died in the hospital. But she continues to do it through the head, the mouth, or whatever. She clearly enjoys, and she was like, I swear she had a grin on her face. She clearly enjoys it. So they are already kind of pointing us. Now, it could be a trick, and may not have no intention of doing it, but they're at least kind of leading us as an audience to the possibility that she's going there. We're seeing Anakin, right? We're seeing Anakin, and he's kind of going towards Revenge of the Sith territory. with Sam Carpenter. So I'm going to say this: it's going to either be, if it happens, it will be Sam, in my opinion, or it will be Mindy, because I think Mindy's been sus since 5, and I still think she's sus. So those would be the two I would think. I don't think Chad has any chance in heck of being a Ghostface. He's the new heart of the core 4. Yeah, he's not going. And Tara, I don't believe in either personally. So for me, it's going to be, if I was betting money, which I'm not, I would put my money on Sam or Tara. I'm sorry, on Sam and Mindy. I mean, Sam and Mindy. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, Sam and Mindy are the most likely options.
Yeah.
I don't see Sam going dark side. I mean, Melissa Barrera even talked about this, and she said, like, I would love it, you know, and that at times that's kind of what it seems like the character's going, but she said it's not going to happen because it's too obvious. And that's my exact sentiment. Like, I agree with her 100%. Like, it's just, it's not going to happen because it's far too obvious.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of not Scream's thing. Like, it takes the obvious and then flips it on its head. I think if anyone was going to, I think if they were going to go that route, I think it would be Tara. Just because, like, you can make an argument that, like, you know, there's that drift, there's that distance. She keeps getting attacked and she wants to live her life. She wants to move on. Like, she could just be trying to get rid of Sam, because as long as Sam is alive, I'm going to have to deal with this, just like Sydney. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what they'll do, but I'm saying, like, you could twist it if you needed to make it like that. And that's the one character I don't think anyone would see coming. Chad, you could do that too with also, but I just think Chad has just been brutally slaughtered so many times that, like, it wouldn't make any sense.
No.
So I think Sam's too obvious. I think Mindy is
not at all.
Mindy is too obvious, but I don't think. But I mean, it would be the easiest to transition into that. But again, I think that makes things too obvious. And then I think Tara would be like the out of left field. I think that's the one that no one would think would come. You could make the argument and kind of follow the blueprint. You know, they had the distance in Scream 5. She was attacked. You know, maybe all the attacks just finally had her snap, but she's just like, I'm never going to be free as long as you're alive. And there you go. And you could have that. But I don't see that happening. I don't. I'm curious to see what they do in Scream 7, because if they follow the trajectory of what they're doing so far, then that means there has to be some kind of sibling thing, right?
That's right.
That means it's either Mindy or Chad, or it's Tara, because I don't think they're going to go Sam. So either Tara, Mindy, or Chad end up becoming the killer, because I don't think they're going to have some, or I fucking hope not, that they don't have some fucking, you know, brothers, cousins, nephews, uncle come out of the woodworks, and it's like, you know, janitor.
Well, remember Fate. Remember
the janitor.
The janitor. Remember something. I keep harping on this. I did a video on it literally yesterday, as my suspects for 7. Danny Brackett made a comment that I just cannot get it out of my head in 6, when he tells Sam, yeah, sometimes, you know, family can be difficult. And I will never forget that sentence that he told her. And I'm like, oh, hold on a second, dude. Family can be difficult. Who is your family? Who is this guy related to? Because, you know, with Scream, if this was another franchise, I wouldn't pay attention to it. Yeah. But you know, Scream is built on family from the beginning. It always is. So what is he going to be? What if Danny comes out of the woodworks in 7 and we find out he's related to somebody in the mix and he's the killer? The problem is he couldn't be related to Sam or Tara. Well, maybe it's not them. It could be somebody else.
Here's something fucked up. What if he is
incest? You talking like they're gonna go the incest route?
Okay,
that's true too.
The stepdad, though, dude.
Hang on. Hang on.
Wars.
You want to hear something really fucked up?
That's right.
I read this theory somewhere. I would hate this if they went down this route. But this is something I read, and I'm like, I hate that, but I hate that it's a possibility too. That Danny is like also the brother of like Sam, because he's like from the descendant of like Billy Loomis as well. That would be ridiculous. And I would hate it. But it's like, if they went that route, that'd be so fucking gross. Like, it's Sam having that reveal. Like, maybe they've been dating for like a year or something. That's like, you get that reveal. Like, that would be awful. That'd be fucking terrible if they went down that route. That's way too much. But like, My thing with the core four or Danny being Ghostface at this point, I just don't think it works. I just don't like. Besides Sam being our Ghostface that we follow through a movie, because that would be fucking awesome.
Yep.
Craven, I love you, man.
Hey, baby, let's go.
That would be great. I just can't see any of the members of the core four being Ghostface. Tara has asthma. And she would be the shortest Ghostface of all, which would be like, it would be so obvious who it was, you know, like this little tiny kid Ghostface running around, just like, you know, punch it right in the face. They're done. Sorry, that was really way more funny than I thought. Mindy, I don't see going Ghostface because like she was genuinely upset. She was like genuinely upset when she didn't figure out who Ghostface was in the last film. And I like
before she woke up or after she went.
Isn't that part of her gimmick though?
She keeps getting stabbed and she keeps being like, she keeps passing out the ending. I just like, man, if she's Ghostface, I'm almost gonna be a little frustrated with that. Chad, he's not, dude. Chad's a big teddy bear, man. Like he just loves everybody. He would not willingly kill somebody with, I don't know, I just can't see it. But Sam, they've been setting it up. Just do it. Just come on.
Do it, man. Yes.
Fingers crossed. That's all I gotta say. I don't know.
I'm with you, buddy. Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we lost.
Well, at least he's smiling.
Dude, I
At least he's smiling
like,
up there.
He's really into this conversation. Well,
he's just vibing.
We got other super chats. So
there you are, Knight.
Knight's coming back.
Knight, you back? There you are.
Right.
What happened?
You froze up, man.
Buddy.
Yeah, you were completely froze, but you were like
Okay.
smiling, so it looked like you were all into the conversation.
I could feel it too, man.
Hey,
This is great.
To quote Kenny, I got that lay.
Yeah.
I got that lay. I don't know, 30 seconds.
If this was a horror movie, Night would be killed, then we wouldn't know for 10 seconds.
Yeah. We got the lay.
All right.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Knight. Do your thing, buddy.
That would suck. I know. I keep getting frozen.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I'll let one of you guys read the super chat.
All right. What do you guys think is going to happen with the Elm Street IP, and which studio is acquired the rights? Could Paramount get it and have Scream Friday? Jake, you want to start, and we'll go in a circle.
Yeah. Which studio could get it? I mean, you know, we have A24 venturing into the slasher genre right now. 2 years ago, I would have told you, no way is A24 going to make slasher movies. But then X comes out and blew my fucking mind. I could see it, maybe. But Warner Bros, I mean, this is like one of their biggest IPs from horror besides like the Conjuring franchise. So I imagine they want to make some money off of this, especially with the Conjuring movies kind of going like this right now. I mean, there's excitement for the Nun 2, but you know, not as much as there was for like the Conjuring 2 back in 2016 at like its peak. So I could see them wanting to like really build this up, especially Craven, like how you were talking about earlier. Slashers are kind of in a bit of a resurgence right now. This would be a really good idea to get an Elm Street film out there. I could see Warner Bros doing it genuinely. And hopefully they do something different from, you know, just basically every sequel that wasn't directed by Wes Craven. Do something else. Do something good, for the love of God. That's my thoughts on that.
So, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there news that they want to do a series, Nightmare on Elm Street series? Isn't that something that they're in the works of trying to figure out right now? And I believe it's Warner Brothers.
Oh wow!
But I do think Jake's right.
I think there was a rumor about that.
Yeah, that they're trying to do a series, because that's kind of like the trend right now in the horror genre. You got It, you got Friday the 13th, with Camp Crystal Lake. They're working on a Halloween series, and so naturally it makes sense that they go Friday the 13th series. So my guess is they start with the series, see how that goes. If that's successful, then I think we get a film, and it'll stay with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers will stay with it because, again, they're not going to want to miss out on all that money, especially for like a series and stuff like that. So, wow. Craven?
Yeah, man. So, and I could be a little bit behind on the times. I could have missed something here, but last I recall, all of the American rights and for the USA rights for Nightmare on Elm Street, because Wes Craven wrote and created Freddy Krueger, uh, copyright laws, it reverted to the Craven estate, so that they now own the rights, and I'm so happy about that for anyone that wants to do a Nightmare on Elm Street film. They have to negotiate with the Craven family, and they'll have to sign off on that, and they'll have to agree to the script, the story, everything else that they're going to sell it to, what have you. For America, international rights are still owned by New Line. So if a studio is going to try to come in and, like Paramount or Universal or anyone else other than New Line, they will have to negotiate with a New Line to get those rights away from them. But I'm sure at the right price, right? Everything's negotiable. But for Americans distribution, though, New Line doesn't own it anymore. So having said all that, and I think that's still where we're at, if that hasn't changed, then it really, to me, is, I hope at least, whoever comes up with the best story and the best pitch to get the best story out. Because I have to think that Jonathan and his widow and daughter, they're going to be very, very careful of what comes out next in a Nightmare movie. Now that they have the rights to it again, they can control what goes on that screen So anyway, so I said all that to say, what do you think is going to happen next? Well, I think whoever can come up with the script that they feel is worthy of Wes Craven's, approval from up above is what I think they're going to go with. And same with the studio, whatever studio is going to make the best deal. Blumhouse has issued as publicly. Jason Blum has publicly come out and said he would love to do a Nightmare movie. And, guys,
Right.
Listen, he's merging, with James Wan to make this super powerful filmmaking company merger. And you guys have heard me scream for James Wan to direct a Nightmare movie. And nothing would warm my heart than a Jason Blum announcing an Atomic Productions coming together, which is James Wan's company, and James Wan writing and directing a Nightmare on Elm Street return. I would absolutely probably have to pass out for about 5 minutes and be resuscitated, because I would be that happy. That happy. Blumhouse production, James Wan at the controls, guys. Not a producer, director, writer.
And brother.
Yeah, and brother.
And brother.
Let him do it. That's a movie that I would begin. I mean, it would send shockwaves in our community, in the horror community. Yeah.
So real quick, and then Night, you could go. I just looked it up. So yeah, Warner Brothers still owns the international rights.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers owns New Line.
They own New Line. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So Warner Brothers.
Right.
So Warner Brothers still owns the international rights, and you are right. The Craven estate owns the U.S. rights.
Awesome.
But I don't think Warner Brothers are going to relinquish the international rights.
They may not.
They're gonna want a piece of the pie.
True.
Right? Why would you?
True.
Why would you? And if you're going to have real success, you're going to need the international market as well. So, my guess is that they end up giving it to, whomever, or Warner Brothers they just take the whole, buy the rights for the whole thing and just do the whole thing, which would make the most initial sense. So, yeah. Anyway, Nate, sorry.
James Wan needs to get on.
Real quick, yeah. Well, I would love to see James Wan do it, and I'm pretty sure he would love the opportunity to direct a Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it would be a great marriage, to be quite honest with you. I think that whatever happens, obviously, the pitch has to be good, but I do think it's something that will happen sooner rather than later. If anything, this is the time for it to happen, within the next couple years, at least to get some movement on it, which would make sense. And I really do hope it will. And I honestly also think that it has to be a no-name, pretty much like a no-name or very, very obscure actor that's going to play Freddy. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But thank you for that super chat, Radioactive. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Gina also Gene also
Mindy.
coming in with a $2 super chat saying kill Mindy. Probably.
Gina,
What did
I
Mindy
love
do to
you.
you?
I love you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all
What?
for it. Mindy opening kill of Scream 7. Hey, look, if they're gonna follow
It wouldn't
Scream 3,
surprise me.
gentlemen, right? Cotton Weary was the opening kill. It's gonna have to be one of the
100%
established
Cotton.
characters.
But he deserved it.
That's right.
Cotton Weary deserved it,
But
man. I don't
did he,
think Mindy
though?
deserves to
I
die.
mean,
Yeah,
Jake,
he's a jerk.
But you know, look, he was doing good
He's-
for himself. He got a show.
I think he was.
getting his life in
Yeah, I
order.
think
He almost
I
let
think he
Sidney
just wanted-
Prescott die over an interview, dude. Screw that.
Oh, dude, I
Cotton
don't know.
Weary
Really,
could
he
eat
wasn't
my
really
butt,
gonna let her
dude.
die.
I don't
You don't know
think
that?
he's really gonna do it.
Well,
What if he
true,
said
but
no? What if
one
she
thing's
said
for
no,
sure,
dude?
But,
In
what,
the
but,
original- in the
but hold on though.
original
One thing's
Cotton
for sure. He definitely felt a certain kind of way because obviously he didn't commit the murder and he was put away for it and he was pissed off and he wanted to get some type of piece of the pie when he got out. And I get it.
Okay.
Well, that was the
And
original
right,
idea in
right.
Scream 2. That Cotton
That's
was
right.
supposed to shoot Sydney and he was supposed to be the hero or whatever. Right? So
Yeah.
Well, remember what he told Sydney though. You know, Sydney, just so you know, I would never.
yeah, he said
And-
I never would have hurt you.
And,
Yeah.
and then she, yeah, and
That's
then,
right.
I mean, come on, man, don't be hating on Cotton like that. He was getting his life in the right.
He's a
Hey,
secondary
Jake is-
antagonist, dude.
Oh,
Great, well-written
Jake is like-
character to the
Yeah.
10th
I've always
degree, but-
wanted to see the original idea for Cotton Weary in Scream 3 because he was supposed to actually be a part of it was Liev Schreiber that was the one that said kill me in the opening scene because all the
I
chaos
know.
and the rewrites and everything
Now
that was
he
going on.
regrets
He was like
it.
get me
Right.
out of here. And I mean I don't blame him. I mean he's like get me out of here.
And he says
Well.
now in Fate, he said that
He
that's
regrets it, man.
That's the biggest
Yeah.
regret of his
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But at the
Yeah.
time, I don't blame him. I mean, that was a mess. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody wanted to be there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, that's
none
true.
of them wanted to be there.
Ah.
It was an absolute mess. And he was
Well-
and he wasn't like the main guy. And I think he still died in the film. He just died at the end or towards.
But
the
here's the
end.
thing, though. Here's one thing, and then I gotta wrap this
Yeah.
up. But
Yeah.
I think horror back then was still not, as
Beloved.
regarded as it is today, beloved,
Mm.
respected, and of course now you have A-list actors that are in these horror movies, horror franchises. You've got these big name directors and so forth, and I think back then it was one of those things where I get where he was coming from. He wanted to try some other things. He didn't want to get pigeonholed, but damn, man, if
I know,
if he didn't
man.
die, who would have known, man? Who would have known, man?
Oh,
but-
Knight, look at that real quick. That comment just got posted about talking Star Wars.
Oh man.
Oh, now we're
He's
talking,
nuts.
baby.
Son.
Let's go.
Stop. Cotton Sun.
Cotton
Anyways.
son. Sorry.
Hey, this is 90% cotton. All right, look.
90%.
No. I'm
For you-
50% cotton because I'm a son.
50% cut.
Okay. That's right. You're right. For you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We really God, we really appreciate it. Jake, you're gonna be on soon, and then Steven's gonna be on, I'm gonna be on, then Fate's gonna be talking about fear. So we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave us some comments because we went all over the place, and we'll catch you guys next time. The collective has spoken. Peace. Take
Bye,
it easy.
guys.
Later.
See you soon.